Corporate financial data reveals a stark mathematical asymmetry. A mere 1% increase in the price of an offering generates an average 8% increase in operating profit. The standard marketing mix breaks down into 4 components: product, place, promotion, and price. Product development, distribution, and promotional campaigns are all expenses. Price is the solitary variable that transfers currency back into the business. Establishing an optimal price is not a promotional lever to pull at random. It is the ultimate quantitative measure of the exact value a market places on a business's output. Despite its outsized impact on profit margins, pricing strategy is routinely neglected. It is estimated that less than 10% of market research projects focus on price, and the decision itself is frequently delegated to inexperienced commercial teams. Many businesses rely on a baseline strategy, known as cost-plus pricing. They calculate the expense of providing the product and simply add a fixed margin on top. This generates predictable revenue, but ignores the customer's actual willingness to pay. Arbitrary baselines like cost-plus models or blind competitor benchmarking systematically cause businesses to underprice their offerings. Optimal pricing is an empirical science. It requires calculating exact mathematical coordinates based on external market demand rather than internal guesswork. Customers never evaluate a price tag in a vacuum. They weigh the required currency against the perceived benefits of the offer. This chart plots perceived benefits against price. The 45-degree diagonal is the value equivalence line. Companies in the upper left charge high prices for few benefits, sitting in the value destruction zone. Conversely, the lower right value creation zone captures market share. Locating your exact coordinates on this equilibrium line dictates your strategy. It proves mathematically whether a business must add features to survive or if it can safely raise prices to capture more profit. Before a new product is even launched, data analysts must calculate its optimal starting price. They deploy the Van Westendorp model to chart the psychological limits of the target market. Potential buyers are surveyed to identify 4 specific thresholds: the points where the product becomes too cheap, getting expensive, and too expensive. Plotting these responses forces an intersection. That precise center point reveals the optimal entry price. When evaluating an existing product, analysts use a different framework, known as the Gabor Granger method, to map price elasticity. By asking potential customers their likelihood of buying the offer at incrementally descending price points, analysts can map a definitive demand curve. This tracks exactly how much market volume is lost for every dollar the price increases. These models establish a critical rule of economics. Baseline price points must be dictated by empirical market demand thresholds. Internal corporate cost structures are irrelevant to the consumer. Buyers rarely purchase a single isolated item. They purchase a complex architecture of bundled benefits, warranties, delivery speeds, and features. This interface demonstrates choice-based conjoint analysis, the primary tool used to value specific bundled features. Respondents make hard trade-offs, reviewing different grouped product packages at stated prices and selecting the one they would actually buy. To evaluate features without the variable of price, researchers use maximum difference scaling, or MaxDiff. This forces users to rank the most and least important items from a targeted list, generating a specific utility score for every isolated feature. Deconstructing a product into utility scores allows a business to eliminate developmental waste. They can engineer the exact feature combinations required to justify a premium price tag. A business may also need to definitively value intangible service upgrades rather than physical product features. This grid utilizes the SIMALTO methodology. Survey respondents receive a limited budget of points to spend across this grid. Tracking where they allocate points reveals exactly what operational improvements, like faster turnaround times, they are actually willing to pay for. In highly commoditized categories where products are virtually identical, analysts deploy the brand price trade-off framework. This isolates the raw financial premium a recognized brand name commands over its generic rivals. Quantitative trade-off models replace instinct with math. They prove exactly how much additional revenue a specific incremental value addition will generate in the open market. Applying these frameworks to high-stakes B2B markets proves that perceived value consistently overrides absolute price. Consider an industrial plant choosing between two manufacturing pumps. The standard unit costs $50,000. The premium alternative costs $150,000. The premium unit features double the lifespan. It also requires 50% less operational downtime. A product priced 300% higher up front possesses a definitively lower cost in use. The measurable financial benefits shift the value equation, rendering the higher absolute price irrelevant to the buyer. These empirical models possess one inherent limitation. They assume perfectly rational human behavior. Buyers are highly susceptible to psychological framing. A company that launches a product too cheaply sets a permanent market expectation, making it virtually impossible to raise prices later. An initial high price creates an anchoring effect. Seeing an expensive figure first permanently skews a buyer's perception of what constitutes a bargain later in the negotiation. Optimal pricing requires mapping the exact data-backed value of your offer, but executing that price requires the corporate discipline to walk away from any transaction that destroys your margin.